So, warning, what you are about to witness is sheer automotive insanity. These Ford muscle cars are so over the top, so ridiculously dumb, that they might actually be genius. We're talking massive hood scoops for no reason, gas mileage that should be illegal, and a pickup truck that thought it was a sports car. So buckle your seatbelts, grab some popcorn, and prepare for 7 of the dumbest, most over-the-top Ford muscle cars ever made. Number 7. 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. Ah yes, the Boss 429, the Mustang that hit the gym, skipped leg day, and then injected pure NASCAR energy straight into its pipes. Ford took a look at the Mustang and thought, oh, this is cute, but what if we stuffed a nuclear reactor under the hood and prayed it didn't explode? I mean, that hood scoop? It ain't just a scoop. That's an aircraft carrier. Things so big you could store groceries, a family of coons, or maybe even a second engine under it. In fact, calling it a scoop is generous. It's more like an open-top cargo hold for lost pigeons. Subtle? Absolutely not. Necessary? Also absolutely not. But cool? Oh, without a doubt. See that 429 cubic inch V8? Ford claimed it made 375 horsepower, which is adorable because everyone knows it was closer to 500 because Ford just straight up lied to the insurance companies. I mean, imagine walking into your agent's office and saying, "No, sir, this is just a commuter car." The reality? This engine made any number of scared insurance companies go into early retirement. This thing was so wide, you could register it as its own country. You don't park a Boss 429, you just let it exist, and everything else just moves out the way. After all, when your car is this massive, parking becomes more of a territorial occupation than a routine task. Number 6. 1970 Ford Torino Cobra 429. If the Boss 429 was Ford's brawler in a tight t-shirt, the Torino Cobra 429 was its big, intimidating older brother who wore aviators indoors and spoke only in gravelly one-liners. If you thought the Boss was big, this is absolutely massive. It's not a car, it's a rolling national landmark. I mean, the hood alone could qualify as real estate in some states. If you took this thing down the highway, smaller vehicles might just get absorbed into its gravitational pull. You don't drive a Torino Cobra, you steer it in the general direction of your destination and hope the earth rotates accordingly. And let's talk about that shaker hood. Oh sure, it helps with airflow, but for real, Ford just wanted something that visibly moves every time you rev the engine, like every man. I mean, that thing shakes so much, you might think it's second-guessing its life choices. But hey, why have a muscle car if you can't let the entire neighborhood know you have a muscle car? And under that rattling hood, the 429 Super Cobra Jet. Ford called it a 370 horsepower engine, but everyone knows they were just sandbagging. This thing made so much power that every time you floored it, the gas gauge visibly moved. Oh, did you think I was talking about the little needle in the middle? I meant the whole dang gear. But put the right driver behind the wheel, and this thing could probably outrun your bad decisions. Number 5. Mercury Cougar Eliminator. Apparently, Ford decided that the Mustang just wasn't fancy enough and needed something slightly more expensive, slightly more sophisticated, and mildly sounds like some kind of RPG character. First off, those hidden headlights. What, were regular headlights just too predictable? Ford really said, you know what would make this more aggressive? If the car literally had to squint before it attacks. It's almost like the car has commitment issues, not fully trusting you until you turn the lights on. Then there's that stripe package. Oh, you thought the Mustang had racing stripes? How cute. The Cougar Eliminator had stripes that looks like they were designed by a team of scientists who wanted to optimize the perfect amount of badass per square inch of metal. Other cars have that subtle pin striping. The Eliminator? It looks like someone just let a child loose with a roll of vinyl and said, "Go nuts!" So what's under the hood? A 428 Cobra Jet V8. Because obviously it's not enough for it to just look classy, it has to be able to gap a Camaro so hard that the driver would consider switching to a bicycle. They rated it at 335 horsepower, but that's like saying a bear only eats a light lunch. The real number was somewhere between enough and excessive. Number 4. Ford Talladega. Alright, let's talk about the 1969 Ford Talladega, a car that looks like someone took a Torino, left it in a wind tunnel for 6 months and then said, yeah, that seems fast enough. This bad boy was not designed to look good. It was designed to bully the competition at 200 miles an hour on an oval track. Let's start out with the front end. No grills, no aggressive styling, just a smooth, stretched out nose that screams, I don't have time for aesthetics, I have races to win. Definitely looks like a Torino fell asleep in a wind tunnel and woke up streamlined. That front end is so smooth, it makes other cars look like they're wearing too much jewelry. And because NASCAR had homologation rules, Ford had to actually sell these monsters to regular people. Can you imagine buying one of these at a dealership? Hi, I'd like to purchase a vehicle that's designed to erase the laws of physics. Right this way, sir. This baby also has that 428 Cobra jet under the hood. Ford rated it again at 335, but that's about as accurate as a weatherman during a tornado. This dang thing was so fast, it made Chrysler engineers lose sleep and forced them to build the Charger Daytona and Superbird just to keep up. That's right, this car was so effective, it made an entire company say, quick, stick a wing on it! 1999 Ford F-150 SVT Lightning. So when most people think of muscle cars, they usually picture some low-slung two-door coupe. But Ford looked at a full-size pickup truck and said, yeah, let's turn that into a muscle car. Because Ford doesn't follow rules, it writes them in crayon, and then eats the crayon. The SVT Lightning is what happens when someone at Ford says, hey, what if we took a work truck and made it absolutely terrible at work? So they lowered it, made it faster than sports cars, and gave it a supercharged 5.4-liter V8 so that you could still haul a couch at 120 miles an hour. Yeah, let's talk about that a minute. Trucks are supposed to have ground clearance. This thing sits so low, ants file lawsuits against it for trespassing. It's a truck that looks like it's allergic to, truck stuff. The moment you see one, you know it's the kind of truck that'll never see a dirt road in its life. Oh, and that supercharged V8? Oh, just 380 horsepower. In a truck. Imagine pulling up to a stoplight in your brand new Charger, feeling all cool, only to get absolutely demolished by a guy hauling lawnmowers in the bed. The best part? It was still technically a truck, meaning you could do a 12-second quarter mile, then stop by Home Depot and pick up some drywall. Well, I guess you can't say it's not versatile if nothing else. Number 2. 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT5. Now we move on to Ford put a supercharger on a truck to Ford put a nuke under the hood of a Mustang. Unfortunate year modeling aside, the 2020 Shelby GT500 isn't a car, it's an assault on the laws of physics. This is what happens when Ford wakes up and chooses violence. Ford could have just given it a modest upgrade over the last model, but no. Instead, they crammed a supercharged 5.2-liter V8 under the hood and said, let's make 760 horsepower and see what happens. Yeah, that's no engine. That's more like an active crime scene. The rear wing? That's no spoiler. It's a billboard advertising your intent to break traffic laws. You could land a small aircraft on that thing, and yet somehow, it's street legal. The front grille? So big it could probably swallow a small hatchback. I would say these aesthetics are less aggressive and more like it's actively trying to inhale pedestrians. Oh, and that dual clutch transmission? Yeah, it shifts faster than you could say, wait, is this thing street legal? Gone are the days of rowing your own gears. This thing shifts like a caffeinated robot with something to prove. Oh, and good luck keeping tires on this thing. You give it half a throttle press and those rear tires are turning into a fine mist. Hope you weren't planning on saving money on rubber, cause you're about to become your tire shop's favorite customer. Number 1. 2005 to 2006 Ford GT. And here we are. We finally made it to the last car on this list. And of course, Ford just couldn't end things normally. No, instead they had to resurrect a literal Le Mans legend, slap a supercharger on it, and casually give Ferrari nightmares. Again. First off, those doors. You don't open them, you break into the stratosphere. Yeah, Ford saw regular doors and said, pathetic, make them more dramatic. Getting into the GT isn't stepping inside so much as it is ascending into another dimension. It's like having a car with commitment issues. It doesn't even fully trust you until you figure out how to get into it. That didn't come out quite right. And under that hood, oh, just a 550 horsepower supercharged V8, because clearly Ford needed more lawsuits from terrified passengers. If the GT40 was a war machine, the Ford GT is the highly refined assassin that takes out its targets without breaking a sweat. And now, these things sell for, wait for it, $400,000. That's right, Ford built a car so good, it became an investment opportunity. Not bad for something that looks like a GT40 that spent 40 years in the gym and came back ready to fight. Ford didn't just build muscle cars, they built monsters. They built machines that looked like they'd steal your lunch money and eat your tires for dessert. These aren't just cars, they're statements of automotive excess that somehow became legendary. Are they practical? Nope. Are they subtle? About as subtle as a barrel of blasting powder. But that's exactly what makes them special. Because when Ford builds muscle, it doesn't ask for permission. It just revs the engines and dares you to keep up. And there you motorheads have it, 7 of the most outrageous, over-the-top Ford muscle cars ever made. Yeah, we called them dumb and we're ripping on them here and there, but we're gonna be honest, we love every single one of these freaks. Ford didn't just build cars, they built rolling middle fingers to subtlety, and we wouldn't have it any other way. So tell us, which one was your favorite? Or better yet, which one would you actually use as your daily drive, questionable gas mileage and all? Park it right there in the comments. And if you enjoyed our little roast fest of these absolute legends, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, because you can believe there is plenty more muscle car madness coming your way. So you better be ready.